This is half the fun of doing the show now. Finding angry, upset music. I Hate Myself for Loving You by Joan Jett. Yes, the Browns lose again, twice in under a week. Welcome to the Doghouse, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns. I'm Andy McNamara alongside Browns Insider from WKYC Sports in Cleveland. Matt Florjancic, as always, we're presented by SportsInteraction.com, your premier sports betting site. Go to SportsInteraction.com/Browns. They'll match up to $200 on your original deposit. Matt, it's twice in a week, two shows in the week that we had to pick our depressing, sad music, and the first half again looked pretty good. But one more time, for some reason, when halftime hits, the Browns, the coaching staff check out, and the severity of Mike Pettin, John DeFilippo, Jim O'Neill, how badly they are outcoached by oppositions and unable to make adjustments is astounding.
It's disturbing. It's really disturbing when you think about how much time these guys put into watching film and formulating a game plan, and yet they cannot seem to come up with any sort of plan for how to come out in the second half. It's almost like they don't pay attention or they don't care. It's becoming, well, I shouldn't say it's becoming. It is a trend, and quite frankly, it's a disturbing one, and it's one that really needs to come to an end. This franchise, this fan base, I should say, deserves better from this franchise.
It does.
It's an absolute embarrassment right now. The second halves of the last really even three games, if you want to go back to St. Louis, have just been awful. They have no semblance of a running game. They don't do enough to help their quarterback, whether it be Johnny Manziel or Josh McCown. And defensively, they are a shell of themselves. Oh. They are what they say they're not. They say they're not this bad and that they're a better team than what they show, but
you have to actually not be that bad, right?
That went out the window a long time ago.
Like Matt, don't you actually have to not be terrible to prove that you are not? Like it's not like they were great and then were off for a couple games. They gave up another 150 total rushing yard night, 152. I think that's number 14 under Mike Pettin's 2-year reign. I'm pretty sure that is number 14 for 149 or more rushing yards. Yeah, Giovanni Bernard for 72, Hill for 52, Mohamed Sanu with an end around for 25, and Andy Dalton with Tyler Eifert. My goodness, 3 touchdowns for Eifert as the Browns fall 31-10 to the Cincinnati Bengals. They stay undefeated at 8-0. Browns fall to 2-7. Next up for them is the Pittsburgh Steelers next Sunday. Matt, another stat. I know it's hard to hear, Browns fans, I know. But in the last 3 games, okay, the Cleveland Browns in the second half have scored a combined 3 points. A combined 3 points. Shut out the last 2, 3 in the previous one. That's being outcoached. That's poor game planning. That's, for some reason, again, Duke Johnson turning invisible. The guy's a playmaker, Matt. The dude's a playmaker. And last night, had just 2 catches, had a touchdown. That was all in the first half. And then they go away from him. I don't get why. Like, just by common sense, wouldn't you think, all right, this guy's actually producing, so get him the ball. Like, can you think of any reason why that common sense would just not prevail?
I can't, and I don't honestly know why, when you're getting outscored 54-3 over the last 2 second halves of football games, that you can't find a way to get the ball to your playmakers.
I know.
He's a legitimate playmaker that has done nothing but move the ball for you and catch touchdown passes, and you just refuse to go to him. I don't understand. I don't see how John DeFilippo expects to have an offense when really their only two playmakers are Gary Barnage and Duke Johnson. For all intents and purposes, this team is devoid of playmakers on both sides of the ball. And when you're built similarly at one position and nobody really stands out, you need somebody else to come around and be that spark plug. But you have to continuously go to the spark plug to actually make it work.
Yes.
You can't just say, well, you did a good job in the first half, son, but in the second one, we're just not liking what we see out of you, so we're going to go away from it. We're going to try to get other people involved. And I want to tear the plays out of the playbook that involve first and 10 run, because I think, again, if you look at the first and 10 runs yesterday, there were several negative runs. And if I hear Mike Pettin say, we got to stay in front of the sticks one more time,
Good Lord.
I might lose my mind, because they're not doing it. They're not calling smart enough plays, and they're not blocking and firing off the line of scrimmage to make anything happen. So realistically, you don't know what the plan is for this team, and we're 9 games in at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And to say that is quite scary, because to go 500 for the rest of this, finish the season with a 500 record, you have to go 7-1, and you have 4 more games against the division that you've been pretty much owned by since you came back in '99.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating to continuously hear the same excuses, the same flat line, the same lack of emotion. You're listening to The Doghouse, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns. I'm Andy McNamara, alongside Browns insider from WKOIC Sports in Cleveland, Matt Fleur-Jancic, brought to you by SportsInteraction.com. Our Twitter question for you, at AndyMC81, at Matt Fleur-Jancic. Our Doghouse question is this. The Browns now 2-7. Do you play the kids? For example, Johnny at quarterback, or do you stay the course? Do you pull a Pettin, and do you stay the course? So that's our question. Now that you're 2-7 playoffs, you're done. You're not going to the postseason. That is evidently clear. Do you play the kids, or do you stay the course? At Matt Fleur-Jancic, at AndyMC81. Matt, before I get your answer to that, there was some historical news last night. There was a historic event, and that's Dwayne Bowe.
I know where you're going.
Dwayne Bowe catching his first pass. Yeah, not just one, but three passes for Dwayne Bowe. That is, you know what? Can we do a little math here? What's 9 million divided by 3? Let's do a quick calculation. I got the old calculator up here. Let's see. 3 more zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
$3 million a catch.
3 million. Yeah. There you go. That is a great return on investment. But you know what, Matt? All kidding aside, he caught 3 of 5 targets, averaged 10.3 yards per catch. On a couple of them, he actually looked like he was working to get yards after the catch. That's what actually perked my interest. It kind of looked like he was trying a little bit.
You know, the funny thing is, we've been ragging on him for a long time, not only us, but like everybody in the media is just wondering why this guy can't get on the field. And I think he listened to that, and he was finally sick of hearing it and was ready to and basically, in no uncertain terms, raise a middle finger to the coaching staff and saying, hey, I know what I can do, and sitting on the bench isn't exactly what I planned on doing when I came here. I know I have some juice left in the tank, and I'm going to show you. And he did fight for those extra yards, and I give him credit for it, because he was about the only one that was doing that yesterday. There weren't a lot of yards after the catch for the Browns, but when I looked at the Bengals, there were a couple times where they caught short passes that were about 2 yards behind the sticks for the first down marker, and they squirmed their way out of tackles from Pierre Desir and Tremont Williams and got those extra yards for a first down. So credit to Dwayne Bowe, you know. And I'm go back to another point. If somebody put a $9 million contract in front of me, I would have signed it too.
Yes.
So that's not on him. That's an indictment of the Browns. That is not on him.
That's
and,
right.
You know, he finally got a chance to actually have a play run to him, and he made it count.
He did. He actually delivered on it. So, Matt, let's get your take here on our Doghouse Twitter question, at AndyMC81, at Matt Fleur-Jancic. 2-7. Do you play the kids? Is it time you're heading into Pittsburgh next Sunday? Is it time to just say, all right, we're not fooling anybody anymore. There is no playoffs. Let's see what we have in Johnny. Dwayne Bowe's not a kid, but hell, let's see what we have in him. Let's just play more of the youth and give everybody who's young, a draft pick and unproven, some more reps.
I think that time is about 3 weeks too late, truthfully.
I'm with you. I agree.
When I looked at the chances of them making the playoffs, I thought it was going to be a long shot at the start of the year, and the way that they've played, recently has shown me that it's not going to happen. Then you look at the fact that this team was legitimately having discussions for Joe Thomas and Alex Mack and potentially Paul Kruger, and I think to myself, the coaches may not be ready to cough up this season yet, but it sure seemed like the front office was willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of think that I don't kind of think, I believe wholeheartedly there is a rift between the coaches and the GM and the front office, and a lot of people are listening to the wrong people, and I think Alex Shiner has too much power on the decision-making end of things. And I'll give Mike Pettin credit when he was asked in a conference call today about the decision going forward with the quarterback, if Alex Shiner and Ray Farmer and Jimmy Haslam would have anything to say about who's the quarterback going forward. He said, no, that is a coach's decision, and it will be made by the coaches.
So that tells me Josh McCown's playing.
If McCown's healthy, he's going to start because Pettin believes that everybody else wants him to play Johnny, and he's going to die with his boots on. He is going to go out swinging the way he wants to swing. And right now you have to look at that and say, well, he's not in a position then to help better this franchise, because if he's worried about sticking to his guns and getting fired for doing what he believes in, then clearly it's not about the franchise anymore, and he doesn't care about Johnny's development because he knows he's not going to be here.
Then, Matt, I'd fire him right now. I'd fire him right now. That's it. I don't need that. I don't need this tug of war. I don't need this, okay, I'm going to be stubborn from both sides, not just Mike Pettin, from both sides. I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to prove my point at the cost of wins, at the cost of this franchise, because these fans are paying hard-earned dollars to go see this garbage on the field because Mike Pettin's in a snit and wants to stick it to Ray Farmer. Josh McCown, has he had a nice season? Sure. How many wins does he have? Just as many as Johnny. 1. So, if you're not interested in the development of this team, Mike Pettin, and you want to trot out Josh McCown because he gives you the best chance of winning and you're 2-7, it's over, man. It's over. And maybe you don't want to believe it's over, but you're done. So if you don't want to develop this team, it does this franchise, Matt, zero good. Zero good to have Josh McCown play one extra snap this season. You need Johnny Manziel to finish this year and show what he can or cannot do as a quarterback in this league. So if Mike Pettin, during the bye week, we know nothing's going to change going into Pittsburgh, I don't think. In the bye week, Pettin doesn't want to play, I'd fire him. Fire his ass. Why not? You said what? Chris Tabor has a year coaching junior college on Monday's show? Hey, why not? Put Tabor in there. Why? Let's get nuts. Why not?
It's disgusting for the fan base because they did raise season ticket prices about 30% this year.
Yep.
And I know a lot of good family friends who had been with the team since '99, had the PSLs, and they were calling sales reps saying who's going to be the quarterback, and the sales reps are saying I can't tell you that, and then they're like, well, then you're not getting the money because I can't afford to pay 30 extra percent and spend what were $600 for tickets and spend upwards of $900 for tickets. It's just not feasible, and I think more fans are starting to feel that way. And my point is, if you're going to charge fans for that kind of product, you have to find guys who are willing to develop for the future. If it goes bad, and it has gone badly for this team, you have to accept it and move on and just say, okay, we've got to see what we can do with these young kids. Because if we play Johnny and he goes 0 for the rest of the season, which is not ideal, but it is probably more than likely that it's going to be a struggle for them to win at least one more game, then you find out two things. That you get a hell of a high draft pick, and that Johnny's not the guy. So you deal with it, and you have to go through those growing pains and to continuously say, no, we're